Today, the Imported Podcast hits the road to speak with a legendary figure in the European football world. A longtime teammate of mine, his accomplishments speak for themselves. Winning a European championship as the starting quarterback for the German national team in 2014, as well as 2 back-to-back German Bowl titles. One of the stars of my documentary, Unicorn Town, the Tom Brady of Europe, the one and only Marco Ehrenfried. We're live. I got Marco Ehrenfried here. So, Marco, we're going to get into, kind of rewind it all back and go into your full football history and your football life. But I kind of like to start off with a little bit of a hard-hitting question, okay? So, my hard-hitting question for you. Are you the best German quarterback of all time?
Well, I think that's not on me to decide. I'll let the audience or the other people decide. I mean, I know that I was pretty good and pretty successful, but overall, I think that's not the decision for me to make.
That is a very good diplomatic answer from a polished quarterback. I would say, man, I always say that you're the best German quarterback of all time. Who else is there? Who else is in the conversation, at least?
I mean, for sure, you got Joachim Ulrich, who also played for the national team and had some success. I mean, he never won a championship. That's maybe something that's missing on his resume. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely Zimmerman, who played for Braunschweig Lions back in the days, was also pretty successful, won a couple of championships. But, I mean, you can't compare it really because times changed, offensive strategics changed, and that's why I'm saying leave it to the other experts to decide on that.
It's a very good answer. It's a very good diplomatic answer. Okay, so if anybody has any opinion, feel free to leave it in the comments of who is the best German quarterback of all time. All right, Marco, so I'm super excited that we could sit down and talk here on the podcast about football and everything that's going on. So you had a very successful football career in Germany here. Can you walk it back for me? Tell me, when did you first start playing football? How did you get into it? And walk me through your football career all the way until, was it 2018, your last year with your second German Bowl win?
I think even 2017.
Yeah, okay, cool. So,
I mean, you should know when we won the German Bowls. I kind of forgot because it's so long time
ago. We won
but
first time in 2017, and then we won again in 2018.
Oh, then it's the 2018.
And then you retired.
Yeah.
Walk me through your football career. When did you start? What age? Yeah. All of it.
It was not typical because most of the people get to football when they're 15, 16, something around that age. Yeah. And I started really early at the age of 10 when I got in contact with flag football actually at Schwäbisch Hall because they held an open tryout. Mm-hmm. And my dad was always fascinated with the sport. He watched NFL on TV, and yeah, back then, you don't have your own will. So you're saying, hey, my parents kind of like that. They're into that. So I'm just going to go there and see how I like it. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, being with the team, I think coherency with the team was great. And even though I was kind of the youngest on the team, I immediately, made friends and everybody was into the same thing. So yeah, with 10 I started and I stayed with it, and I remember after 3 or 4 practices, the people were he can actually throw a football, so let's try him out at quarterback, give him a little space, trying to throw. And ever since then, I think I didn't really switch positions anymore because I think people just saw, okay, he has a talent to throw the ball, let's try to take advantage of that and really teach him.
So I'll let you keep going in a second, but did you have skills throwing balls before that, when you play sports as a kid and everything? Did you know you were talented with throwing?
Well, I wasn't talented with soccer, I can tell you that. My parents tell me some stories that I was talking to the audience instead of playing on the field, right?
Soccer sport.
So that wasn't for me. So I threw some balls with my dad in the backyard because if you buy a football, what to do with it other than throw and catch, right?
Exactly. Okay.
And playing pitch and catch in the backyard. And that's probably, how I got to it. And maybe from school, I just got also from all the games you play and how you get build up to throw a ball. Maybe I just had kind of a talent for it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I think you
That's how
have
it
to.
went.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. With like, of course, you can develop a quarterback skill, but there has to be a natural arm talent there, and so you must have had that from a young age. Okay, so age 10, flag football. You're starting out. Were you good from the very beginning? Were you successful?
When I was 10, I wasn't like, I was just part of the team. You know, there were other people, like people being like 15, and they really carried the team.
Yeah.
I was just part of the team. But ever since I turned 11, 12, they actually said like, okay, we have nobody else right now, so let's give him a chance. Let's let him grow into that role. And then I also remember I got some coaching for quarterback even back then, and I think that helped my development a lot.
Yeah. Do you remember who were some of the coaches back then? Anybody that I know that is still kind of around during our unicorn days?
I don't remember his real name, but his nickname was Tank, and he was playing defensive lineman for Schwäbisch Hall back then. So he was like the OC. Okay. Which nowadays you're like, okay, why is a defensive lineman OC? But he was one of the people that was committed to it, you know, and he like took it on. And then there was Johnny. I think it was really like Johnny, the guy who kind of helped me out because he was also involved with the youth program and trying to coach me. And also Jordan, like in his earlier days when he came, he gave me some lessons and trainings. Yeah, that's crazy. Because what year is this? Because I forgot. Yeah, Jordan came to Schwäbisch Hall in like 2005. Yeah, so that's really early. It must have been around that time when he was there, and I was working with both of them, Johnny and also Jordan. Because Johnny back then wasn't a defensive coordinator. He was an offensive coordinator all the time because he played offense. He's a receiver, yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, so then you start with like, when did you get into like the U17, U18, U19 stuff? Did you and you played all of this time with the Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns, right? I did, yeah. Okay. I was always with the Unicorns during that time because I still went to school, and that was just the easiest way to get to practice, and I wasn't even thinking about switching teams, you know, just like these youth guys do right now. They come from Stuttgart to go to Schwäbisch Hall in Mannheim, you know, to get better. Back in the days, that wasn't the case. I mean, there were some players when I played in the youth program, it wasn't divided into U17, U19. It was just like from 15 to 19. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. It was like all together. It was like a high school team, essentially. Yeah, kind of. And I remember we had some people then coming from Rothenburg that were already 18 that took the car. We had Brian Rushing coming from Heilbronn. Okay. I guess you remember him. Yep. And he played with me on the youth team. But other than that, it was mostly Schwäbisch Hallian guys. Yeah. Okay. So this is just your local football team, you know, and then it turned out to be a really good program where you could develop in. Okay. So then I want to talk about, because you spent some time with a different team, with Mannheim. Can you walk me through what was the decision process to go to Mannheim? Why did you choose to switch teams? And what age was this? That was age 18, 19. Okay. And basically I finished with school, and then it was like, okay, what do I want to do? Yeah. And I kind of had this feeling after training youth teams for Baden-Württemberg. I was like, okay, I'm really good with kids. Yeah. I'm enjoying this. So I think like teacher could be a good thing for me. And I started looking for universities, and then I found some near Schwäbisch Hall, which was kind of like Mannheim and Heidelberg, Stuttgart, something like that. And at the end, there was like a big decision to make for the coaching crew also, because I just came out of the youth program. I had no experience, nothing, and the Unicorns just won their first title. So what is this? 2011 then? Yeah. Must be. Okay. Yeah. And then, you know, I can totally understand that they said, okay, we're going to play internationally. We just won a title. We don't want to take the risk to take a rookie quarterback, even though he might be talented. Right. But, you know, this is our year to really compete and to keep that positive energy going and not, you know, falling back. Yeah. And that's basically when they said, okay, we're going to get an American quarterback. And I was like, okay, do I want to travel all the way back just to be a backup, knowing I won't get a lot of playing time and everything? And I had some good talks with the people from Mannheim also. Yeah. I met up with them and we talked like, hey, what do you think? And they said like, yeah, we're just moving up to GFL. And then I thought, that's a great competition level actually. And let's give this a try, because I already knew they had some good players in, like Danny Washington, Daniel McRae. And so I thought, okay, there are also a lot of experienced people that already played on GFL level for a long time. So this is gonna give me like a great shot to be playing on GFL level and not having, like that pressure put on me that you have to win another championship. But it was just about, hey, we go out and play, we have fun.
Right. Yeah, that was probably a way better scenario for an 18, 19-year-old kid to not have the weight of a program expecting to win a championship on your shoulders as a first-year starting quarterback in the GFL. So then how many years were you in Mannheim?
I stayed with Mannheim 2 years, and 2 great years, I gotta say. And we played the Unicorns a couple of times also.
How'd it go?
Yeah, mostly pretty bad actually, because you could just see, their scouting, their coaching, their players were talented. So there was only one game we actually won, and
that's pretty good though.
Yes, but you gotta say quarterback and I mean Spitzelberger and Waldvogel both got injured.
Oh,
so,
really? Okay.
Yeah, in that game it wasn't fair, but at the end we still came out as winners, and of course it felt good, to beat your own old team, kind of like getting that good feeling.
Did you feel like, was there any sort of bad blood or tension when you made this decision and you weren't part of the Unicorns for this time, or did you feel like everyone totally understood?
No, I think everybody was like understanding, and everybody was still supportive, I mean, my mom still held some dinners for the Americans as she did over the years, and I actually joined sometimes and would talk to the guys, so it was like all friendly based. And if you would ask Fritz Waldvogel about me now, even though we played on different teams, later we went back to play with on the same team, but only for a couple of games. He's like, he's just pumped about me and everything. So there was no bad blood at all. I mean, cool. Some shit talking, but that's just the business.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's cool. So then you come back after the 2 seasons in Mannheim. You come back to the Unicorns, and I think, what is this, 2014 now, and you are the starting quarterback, right?
Yep.
When you decided to come back, did you come back knowing that you were going to be the starting quarterback? Were you recruited back? Because I think this is when Jordan first came back from Vienna. And so did you have the confirmation that, hey, we're not taking an A quarterback, we're taking you as the starter? Was this how it went down?
Yes, I actually remember exactly.
Yeah.
I got a call from Jordan, like out of the blue.
Yep.
And I was sitting in my kitchen, and he was like, hey, Marco, you know what? I'm going back to Schwäbisch Hall, and I want you to be my quarterback. That was actually kind of like, he really recruited me hardly, and that's what gave me like confidence to say, okay, this is worth doing, We're gonna work on so much. He was very successful in Vienna, and that's gonna get me to the next level of my career.
Absolutely, man. And so that's 2014, and you become the starter of the Unicorns franchise, like this team that you had grown up playing in with the youth. How did that feel then to be running out there and be representing the team as the starting quarterback, a position that's typically held by an American import?
I mean, it was awesome feeling. I gotta tell you, it was just awesome to come back and to be the starter, and also to get the faith of all the coaches and especially Jordan, to say, okay, we're gonna have a different approach. Right. And obviously I knew that Jordan was working with Christian Kroos before, the Austrian quarterback. Right. So I knew that this is his philosophy, and you can be successful with this philosophy. Right. That's why I had no doubt in my mind, and I called my parents real quick after that, but basically like the same day I would tell them, okay, let's do this. I'm ready for that.
And for anybody who doesn't understand or know, like typically in the GFL, you have 2 American import spots, and 99% of the time you're going to use one of those spots for quarterback, the most important position on the field. Right, your team goes how your quarterback goes for the most part, and so like it's incredibly rare for a team to use a homegrown, non-American guy at quarterback. So this was a pretty special thing. Did you feel then, because so then we're in this period of 2014, 15, 16, right, where the Unicorns had set sort of an expectation in 2011 and 2012 of being a championship team, Like they had won the German Bowl in these 2 years. So there's now sort of an expectation of this program. Did you feel a pressure during these years? Like you went to the German Bowl each one of these years. 2016, I was with you guys for the first time. So but 3 years in a row of making it to the German Bowl and not winning. What was this period of time like for you? Of course, there's probably some disappointment, but was there pressure? Because I know that there's probably also outside voices saying, hey, why don't we just get, even though you're playing great, why do we use a German quarterback? Why don't we use an American quarterback? Maybe from fans or people who don't understand. Like, did you feel a pressure during this time?
Actually, not at all.
Really?
I mean,
love that.
We knew what we can do, and we thought about it like this. Okay, we are that short.
Yeah.
We always fall that short, and Braunschweig, at that time it was the New York Alliance Braunschweig, right? That always like defeated us in the final. And it was just their era. You know? It was like their era. They had like all the people, they just happened to be a little bit better every year. But every year we got closer. Every year we came in and it got closer and closer, and we knew, okay, if we keep this up, our time will come.
Right.
And that's probably the mindset everybody had on the coaching staff and on the team, that we just keep building, and then there's going to be the time when, you know, they won't have Casey Terrio for 1 year, and then who was like special and probably one of the best American quarterbacks out there, because it was just, you knew what's coming and you still couldn't stop it, right?
Exactly.
Because
he
was just
great.
magic. But yeah, that was kind of the mindset, and I think after every loss, that was kind of the mindset, and also the fans kept pushing us. You know, they were not like, oh, what a disappointing season, you lost the final again. They were like, you know, on the market square and like cheering us on, saying, hey, next year you're gonna get it. I believe in this team, that next year you're gonna stand here with this big pot.
Yeah, it was cool because I mean each year was the 2014 it was a much like kind of a blowout. Then 2015 closer, 16 closer, and then 2017 we win. You win the German Bowl, being the homegrown German quarterback in kind of spectacular fashion. We win, defeating the same team that you've been fighting through to defeat for 4 years. How did that feel then when you finally got handed that trophy?
Yeah, that was an awesome feeling. I mean, every time you win a championship, that's just like, that's where you want to get. That's why you play the sports, to enjoy these moments and get there. Even though I almost every time I had to pee after, so I couldn't enjoy that much because I had to go to this NADA testing.
The drug testing?
Yeah, the drug testing after.
That sucks.
Yeah, but still, like, special moment to lift the trophy also as a captain, and you know the other captains like Christian and who was there again? I don't remember now, but like some older guys that have experienced it. For them it was different, and then they even said like, okay, Marco, that's your first one. You lift the trophy now. So that's like awesome feeling to get the confetti going, lifting the trophy, and seeing everybody just happy after. You also feel for the other team because you know quite well how it feels. But in that moment, I mean, it's just pure joy.
Yeah, and like you said, they had their era, and then it was our time, and then you got to then do the same thing the following year, 2018. You won again. So back-to-back years, winning the German Bowl. You decided to retire after the 2018 season, kind of at what many people would say the top of your game. Like, you know, sometimes people retire after, you know, playing until they're like 35, 36, and their performance sort of diminishes. You stopped at your peak performance in the middle of winning 2 back-to-back German Bowls. What was the mindset to decide to retire? Was you just feel like, all right, I'm done with football, I've done everything I want? Or was it external life circumstances, job? What was it?
Yeah, exactly. It was like an external thing because like with this becoming a teacher thing, my job, I wanted to really focus on that and not have football have effect on that. Because if I'm doing both, like, or I'm trying to handle both and I can't put 100% in each, I felt like I'm gonna fall off. Yeah. On both, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna take this year, I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm gonna see how I'm gonna feel about it.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like, okay, I'm done. It was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break. and I'll see how I feel about it later. And I think there was that time where I just after I just never felt the same drive again.
Yeah. Okay.
I felt like, it's actually great to have some more free time to do some things or enjoy some things you could not enjoy before. And I think like having life, this really gotten me that feeling, and it's still holding on up until now.
Yeah.
That I'm done with football. I'm totally fine, where I finished and what I've done in my career. And there's never like a thought in my head like, oh, I gotta go back. This I would have tried. This I would have liked to do. So yeah, maybe that was the sweet thing, winning this championship. And then you can say, okay, I'm satisfied with what I did in my career. And I'm just totally clean with myself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have how I would describe a very clean, perfect break retirement, having gone out on top, like we said. And that's interesting, though, that you don't feel like you feel, okay, that's good. I can close that chapter. And I don't feel like, for example, when you go to games now, does any part of you feel like, I still got it. Like I would like to go out there and throw the ball around.
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. No.
Cool,
because I have a different role now, which I really enjoy when I go to games. Even though, I mean, if I'm watching them or if I'm commentating them, I just feel great where I'm at. And even if I go to some practices, because I've been coaching for some teams, I don't even have a desire to pick the ball up and throw a football. It's just not in me anymore. So that's when okay, this chapter is closed. There is no drive anymore. And if you then try to force something, it's not going to work out well.
Man, that's really cool that you can feel that way and you feel so satisfied with the door closed. I was listening to a podcast the other day that basically life is sort of, the game Tetris?
Yeah.
You know that game? So wherever the pieces fall down and like you can fit all the pieces in there, but you have to fit things in the proper order. And if you don't fit them in the proper order, you can't fit everything in. But
and you can't go to the next level, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like basically you can get everything out of life, or mostly everything out of life, if you do things in the proper order. And it seems like you are, whether you recognize it or not, you're doing that exactly by having this football career fall down here and placed perfectly in here, and then deciding, okay, now I'm focusing here on the teaching and the commentating, and it's a very clean, smooth transition.
Yeah, and there's a time for everything, and sometimes you got to know when the time is up. Yeah. And right now I'm actually, building with this commentating on the foundation of when I played.
Exactly. So that's what I want to talk about a little bit now, because you and I both, like I'm retired as well, and we're both finding a little bit of our footing still in the football world with, the knowledge and skills that we've built. And you're doing a lot of commentating for the GFL, for the CEFL, for the ELF, and right? Like all of these leagues, basically.
Yes.
So you're doing all sorts of football commentating, not just in German, but in English as well.
Yeah, as you know.
You got Marco and I did. Yeah, we did a couple games in English for the CEFL. How difficult is that to commentate, to switch back and forth in commentating?
Actually, I like English kind of more than German.
Really?
Because it's just so much more natural of football speaking.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like some terms you just pick up because I watch a lot of American commentating also on NFL stuff. Yeah. So it's just, you pick up so many things that you can't translate into German. Yeah. And which are so easy and come natural with you if you're speaking in English, because you don't think about it. And in German, you always have to think like, okay, which term do I use? Which matches best to describe the situation so everybody can follow and I don't use too many English words in my German commentary.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, because you get some of these phrases and stuff, maybe these 3 or 4 word phrases that mean something very like, describe something so perfectly in English, but like you wouldn't be able to find the German equivalent and have it sound so fluid and smooth. Okay, that's interesting that you actually prefer it in English. What is it about commentating that you enjoy? Because I'm assuming you enjoy doing it. You're spending a lot of time doing it.
I actually learned to love it, you know. I mean, it was like it came naturally to me. I still wanted to be involved with football. I want to get the people out there more insight than just, you know, I watched the game and things happen, but why do they happen? Yeah. Why is it not always the quarterback's fault if a pass falls incomplete or goes somewhere? It can be also the receiver's fault often, you know. And I think I want to teach people, okay, it's not all who is the real person to blame sometimes for something that happens on the field, or why does something work and why does something not work sometimes, you know? What are the differences in between plays, schemes and everything? And that's just something I've always been like analytically. And I think I'm really like enjoying this, trying to be more analytic on commentary than rather just, you know, saying or talking about the game flow.
Right, man. And you're really good at it. I mean, like we've done it a few times together in English, and I've been wildly impressed. It's like I remember the first time that I did it with you. I didn't even really know that I was going to do it. They had asked me, and they said, "Hey, you want to think about this just in case Sebastian Kushner can't go, who usually does it with you?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that." And it was on Saturday, and Kusti was sick or something. He couldn't do it. And then they asked me, they said, "You got it. We need another one with Marco." And I was really nervous to do it, but the way that you kind of briefed me, like, "Hey, here's how it's going to go. I'll talk like this. You can fill in some stuff, some knowledge." And you really made it very calm and comfortable in there. And it just felt so natural and easy to do that with you, man. And so I think you have a real natural skill for the commentating. And it's like what you were talking about, kind of giving people an insight too. There's, you know, I'm a filmmaker, and you know, with filmmaking, you've got the main pillar and the main thing driving filmmaking is story. And so a lot of times within the commentating, you get to kind of tell the story a little bit behind what you're actually seeing. So to me, with the commentating, it sort of blends football and a little bit of storytelling as well that helps people kind of connect to the game a little more.
And from how you're talking right now, I can see you also enjoy it a lot. So if people think like, okay, they're just talking about the game, what is so exciting about it? It's just a different kind of energy, but you still feel that energy because you're like right in the game, you're focusing, and there are still also emotions involved. So like it's a different energy than playing, but there is still an energy that you can feel.
Man. I mean, even when I went back and I watched the one that we did this year where the Unicorns had the last second win, and listening to our call in the at the last second touchdown and how much emotion you had there, like just making the game winning touchdown call. And there's some iconic moments in sports. Like, you ever see the movie Miracle? The ice hockey movie?
Not this one, not too much into hockey.
Okay, yeah, well, me neither, but it's like an iconic movie because it's when the United States defeated the Soviet Union in like the height of the Cold War. It's a true story.
Okay.
In the Olympics, and there's a really famous call from the commentator Al Michaels, which is like world famous, where he says, "Do you believe in miracles?" at the end as the United States wins.
I get it. We have that in Germany too, actually. Yeah, it's like 54, the FIFA Soccer Cup Championship. Okay. When Germany played Hungary and they lost like really badly in the beginning against them. Then they played them in the final, and at the end they like won 3-2. And you have to listen to the voice of the commentator when the guy scores the goal.
Really?
It's like, Rahn müsste schießen, Rahn schießt, Tor. So he's like really getting alive, and that's like something great, you know. That's like, these are iconic moments, and it's awesome. You feel the energy.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it's just like what you said. There's an energy and there's an emotion there still. It's not the same as playing, but you can translate it a little bit. We got a little off the football topic there a little bit. We're going into the commentating. I do want to run back again and ask you. Forgot, 2014, you're the starting quarterback for the German national team. This is sort of an iconic game. Germany versus Austria in the big stadium in Tyrol, in Innsbruck.
Was not Innsbruck, was in Vienna.
Oh, it was in Vienna?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was in Innsbruck. Yep. Okay, so it was in Vienna.
Yep.
Walk me through this experience, German national team, that game. What was it, 30,000 people?
I don't quite remember. I think it was like 27, but
Okay.
I could be wrong on this. But for sure, it was a loud crowd. You couldn't hear yourself speak, so that was pretty amazing. Yeah, like the biggest football game I've ever been part of, and like there's a couple of fun stories to this because actually Jordan was my coach. He was Christoph Gross's coach, who was the quarterback for the Austrian national team. So we actually met up like 4 weeks before that championship or something like that, because he was in Schwäbisch Hall to have a training with Jordan. He's like, hey Marco, do you want to come and join? And we just had like a joint practice. We talked a little, and like everything was cool, you know. We weren't like bad rivals or something like that.
He's from Austria. He's a homegrown Austrian quarterback.
Yes,
right?
I don't know if he's from Vienna, but
he's a Vikings
he played
guy.
for the Vikings, and he's an Austrian. Yeah,
cool. Okay,
and we even said like, okay, we're probably gonna see us again since we don't play in the same group. We gotta make it to the finals, and like we took some photos, you know, where we stand head to head or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I photoshopped it like with the German and Austrian flag, and I was waiting for that, you know, to put that out on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it was. Yeah, and that's one of the stories. Nice. And I actually met him when I had to go pee again.
Really?
Yeah, we both were selected to pee after the championship
drug testing?
game. So I told you I really loved that 2018. I didn't have to pee because that was like the first real championship I was enjoying. The other ones I was kind of like coming back when everything was done.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, so these two big, huge championships, you have to get the drug testing.
Yeah,
I remember that. I had to get that in 2017. It's like you're in there for so long. Okay, so this was a really close game, if I remember right?
It was overtime.
Overtime, right? Okay.
Double overtime.
Double overtime game. You're pretty young at this point. You're 22 or so?
Yep.
And I think also you won MVP of the game.
I did. Yeah. I don't know if it was deserved or not. Okay. They made the call. Okay. I mean, I didn't have my best game. I had like 3 picks. Okay. But I also had these 3 touchdown passes in the last one that was the game winner.
To win the game.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough game because we just steamrolled over, I think, Finland and Sweden because we had like a running game, you know, Danny Washington, and he was saying, okay, this is European Championship, so I'm going to do a little sprinting and everything. So he was like in the shape of his life. Wow. And I think he had like 250 rushing yards against Sweden or so. Okay. Like, yeah, we just basically beat them with the run. We had some play action. We made some nice pass plays, but it was really like the offensive line and the run game that got us going. And in that final, the Austrians just completely shut it down. So it was like, okay, we need to win this by passing. Right. You know, and I mean, Austrian defense was like mostly Viennan guys, Viennan systems. So we knew it pretty well, but they were just pretty damn good at doing it. Yeah. I mean, so it was a really close game. Yeah,
and this is the best talents in Europe. Germany and Austria most commonly are thought of as the 2 most talented countries when it comes to national homegrown players. Except for in 2021 when Team Italy won the European Championship. Yeah. We got that. So you have this, I don't know, kind of an incredible experience in a loud environment, a lot of pressure on you. Do you feel in a game like this pressure? Or do you feel calm, cool? You always seem, from the outside, man, you always seem chill, calm. All right, you know, here we go. We're going.
Yeah, I think that's just who I am as a person. Yeah, I don't get pressured, and I said this because I was on a podcast as well, where like a week ago about this Hamburg and Rheinfire game, 32,000 people there, and oh my God, what do you do? And I just said it depends on what kind of person you are. Right. Do you get like scared of that big of a crowd, or you take that energy, you know, to level up, you know, to be like yourself and take advantage of the situation that you can, you know, have 30,000 people see you playing and you can like crash the party at this point because the game was in Austria. Right. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing. That's my theme. Yeah. That's how I am naturally. And I mean, you know, we played quite some German bowls, and you tend to get like really people tend to get really nervous before big games. For me, it was never the case. Never. And there's this other fun story actually, because I remember Jordan always tells me that. Okay. We were at breakfast before the game, the day before the game.
Which German Bowl?
No, not German Bowl. That was the European Championship.
The European,
actually.
Austrian,
yeah.
German. Okay.
We were at breakfast, and there was like a guy, like a big defensive lineman, and he played quite some games, and he couldn't really eat his breakfast.
Yeah.
And I was apparently, I don't remember. I just recall from what Jordan told me.
Okay.
I was sitting next to him, like, hey, what are you worried about? Man, we're just going to go out there and win that thing. Eat your breakfast.
Jordan has told me this, actually. Jordan told me this because I had a conversation with Jordan a few times about this, about basically your football demeanor and how chill and calm you are even in the biggest situations. And he told me about this. This was just like, hey, man, what's all good? We're just going to play some football.
Yeah.
It's all good. Is that sort of how you feel? Do you just feel like, hey, because I'm trying to understand, do you just feel like, hey, this is a fun game? Or, because I think you also took it and take it very seriously. It's not like You're just like, whatever, who cares what happens? It seems like, of course, you take it incredibly seriously and you do care, but you also have this chill mentality. Is it because you're just having so much fun, or it's just naturally?
I think it's just my personality of how I take things or how I approach things.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't get stressed out, and I'm looking for the positive in it. You know, having that experience, and why should I be worried about it? You know, you gotta enjoy it, and of course you can enjoy it even more if things are going your way. But at some point, that's just who I am, and I stay true to myself.
Yeah, man.
And that kind.
I love it. Well, it sounds like you had a lot of success, man. And your like calm energy, I remember, like that helps spread across the team as well, especially in big games. You know, in the locker room, you got some young guys super tense, and like you look at your quarterback, and he's chilling, smiling, and balling out too. And so it's a good thing to have from the quarterback position. Wanted to ask you, what are you most proud of in your football career? Your accolades or anything, what are you most proud of? Be it personal or team-wise?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I've
never thought about that, so I think I need some time to think about that, actually, to reflect on it. But if I gotta go real quick, I think like what I'm most proud of is that I like played every game. Yeah? That's like something also that Jordan told me, like you only took like 3 plays off.
Wow.
And that's how I feel I helped the team the most, that I was always, there, and I always was there to help the team get the win. Maybe I might come up with something better if I would reflect on it, but that's like a stat that didn't stand out to me, but after Jordan told me, it was kind of like, okay, really, I didn't realize it like that, but that's actually like a pretty big factor, because you see so many injuries these days, and that's when, like, especially if it happens to the quarterback, like things get really tough for teams.
Absolutely, man. And they say the best ability is availability, and you are always available. And I remember even in the the 3 or 4 seasons that we played together, we always had an emergency A quarterback signed in case your quarterback gets hurt, in case Marco gets hurt. Marco never got fucking hurt, never went down, was always there and ready to play. And that's a great answer. Actually, I really like that. And I know you said you would think about it still even some more. I don't want to say more valuable. What brings you more joy when you look back on it? The German Bowl win or the European Championship win?
Actually, that's really interesting, because right after I finished my career, I would have said, the European Championship, because it was such a big game. Yeah. But at the end, reflecting now, I would say definitely the last German Bowl, because that's like, okay, that's why I could go in peace. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like there's any unfinished business or something. Right. If you lose that game, you kind of feel like, oh shit, I gotta give it another try. That's not how I can, walk away. Right. But I think that made my mind be in peace with football, because I stepped away, I had these wins, and you don't think about, oh, what can I reach now? What do I need to do now? I think that was actually like a shift of mindset after reflecting on it. Yeah.
That is a great answer. That makes a lot of sense. And it's like, that's something that that helps me as well, is like I get to go out. I retired also on winning a German Bowl.
Yep.
I don't have as much peace as you do when I like am at a game, because part of me still wants to play. But also, just like you, part of me is also really enjoying to be able to explore other avenues of your life and have free time away from football. Because, I mean, we know it takes up not only the time that it takes up, but also the emotion and the mental bandwidth and energy that it takes. So it really is kind of nice to have this this time. But yeah, ending on a win is something that no one can take away from you ever. Okay, so we're both pretty plugged into this European football world, having played in Germany for a long time. And now there is a new big league, European-wide, the European League of Football. That's got teams in Germany, Austria, Italy, Spain, Hungary, Czech Republic, all over the place, Poland. And it has sort of taken the European football world by storm, I would say. It's getting a lot of attention. What are your thoughts about the European League of Football?
I really like it. I mean, I like the idea. I like the teams. I like the competition level that is up there. And yeah, that's why I love commentating on it. I mean, it's just great to see like different players from other countries compete against each other. And that's going to make European football just better.
Yeah. Does any part of you, I know I said you're at peace, does any part of you feel like, oh, that would be cool if that was around when I was playing?
Maybe, yes. Yeah. Maybe when I was around, I don't know if that would have changed my mindset.
Yeah.
You know, if this new league came up and I would be like, oh, I want to try that. But I just know right now, okay, that doesn't make sense. You got to be rational about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good German rational answer right there. Yeah. I can give you an American bullshit dreamer irrational answer, and I like this German pragmatic rational answer. Do you like, what is your feeling on the, I don't know, because there's kind of been some tension between the leagues, the European League and some of the homegrown leagues, because, for example, the European League doesn't have a youth program. And so these homegrown leagues kind of develop young players, and then they end up going and playing in the ELF later on. What do you think about this issue?
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand the leagues are different. One league, the GFL, is like a club league, like normal German system with clubs and everything, youth programs, and the ELF is basically like a business,
right?
And they work to, you know, promote their business, to make it bigger, and at some point maybe there will be youth programs following, but for right now that's not where their focus is on. So it's totally understandable that they want to grow their business first before they get into something else. And it took like the German league also some years to develop all these programs, and now we can't say, okay, ELF should do this in year 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
It will follow, but it just needs some time to set the frame on that.
It's a very smart answer. I like that a lot. The brain of a quarterback, man. It's a good brain. It's a good brain. You're watching probably a lot of ELF football this year because you're one of the commentators. Are you commentating ELF games both in German and English, or only in German?
For now, only in German.
Only in
no
German.
English commentaries because they have their own guys.
There's like 4 guys or so or something.
Even more.
Is there more? Yeah. Are there more? Okay. When you look across the league, what teams are you impressed with?
As for right now, I mean, we're approaching week 4. Pretty impressed with Berlin's defense. Yeah. And they play some good football, and I think the Thunder are actually a good team. I said this on the podcast as well last week. I just don't know if their quarterback is the right fit for the team, but they're very talented. Of course, Vienna, who is always like a good program. Then you have the Tyrol Raiders that are a really good program. And yeah, we'll see this weekend how they're gonna play against Stuttgart, because I mean, Stuttgart has like a huge turnaround.
Sure.
And we don't know how that's gonna play out in year one. So far, they're looking good, but just have to get more data. Let's say more data on that, how they're gonna do during the season. If some real adversity is gonna come up. I mean, they got some great coaches, great players set up. So let's see. Yeah,
that's a great way of putting it. I mean, I'm super excited. In this city, we're shooting this in Stuttgart, by the way. The Innsbruck Raiders and the Stuttgart Surge are playing this weekend. Battle of the Undefeateds. Do you have a prediction for this? I don't know when this podcast will probably come out after that game.
Yeah. I'll be commentating that game. So
you? Okay, nice.
I will be broadcasting that game for the ELF Game Pass.
Sweet.
I don't know. I have to really get like the scouting report for who's injured and who's not, who will be playing, because I think Stuttgart got a real shot if all of their like playmakers are playing and if their O-line performs as they did last week. Yeah. Because that was pretty impressive. But all in all, Tirol is like, they have been into the league a little longer, and it's a nail biter. I don't know. It's gonna be like who's better at that day, actually. Who has the better performance that day, because they're pretty equal and there are some issues on both sides, I think. But who can exploit the issues of the other side better? That's going to be the deciding factor.
No, that's a great way of putting it. And it's like, I like what you said about basically you need some more data because the Surge are so new, obviously off to a good start. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Surge because I'm in there. I'm a little part of that team in a way. But I think what you said is totally fair that Raiders have been around and are a little bit more established. They have a little bit more, what is the word? Not cohesion, not consistency. There's a really good English word that I'm thinking of right now. Yeah. So just imagine that word, audience. A little bit more, whatever the word is. They've been doing it. Experience. There we go. There we go. This is a teacher right here. That's what he does.
Not English teacher though, to just clear that,
Well, now you're my English teacher. So they got a little more experience. So I'm super excited to see how that goes. And there's just, I don't know. It's cool just seeing there's a lot of guys in the league that we played with also, which is cool. We know guys all around the league up at different teams, and it's just cool to be having this connection with so many, and to personally know some of these guys. It makes it all that much more fun to watch the league and see it develop.
Absolutely, and as a commentator, that's also a good thing because you know some personal things about the players which you can share and brings it nearer to the audience. They just feel like, okay, I know this guy now, but just by what the commentator was saying, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was the great thing, especially when we would do the unicorn games, is we knew all of these guys, especially last year when I was actually a part of the team. I was just injured that week or couldn't play. I could talk about them and what their mentality is like and what they're going through, with a lot of knowledge, because you know them. So it gives you such an advantage as a commentator. Now we're going on. I'm going back a little bit off topic, but I was wondering, since we're starting to talk about individual players, back to your quarterbacking days, when you were throwing with a receiver, is there a type of receiver that was easier for you to make chemistry with and timing with?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say my strength was always my deep ball.
Yeah.
Right. So I was throwing a pretty accurate deep ball, and it helps if a player has like a big range to catch footballs and some good speed. So no wonder why Tyler Rutenbeck caught a lot of touchdown passes on deep routes.
Yep.
Like we had a pretty good chemistry on these deep routes.
Absolutely. Okay, so somebody like this, really fast, that can be a deep threat and have a big range.
Absolutely.
That's just, Rudy's insane with that. I've never seen that. His ability to track a deep ball is incredible.
Yeah, sometimes you catch him running with his helmet stuck back and just track the ball somehow, where you're like, okay.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. How was that when, because like we said, most teams, in the GFL back in our day would have an American quarterback in a skill position, whether it be a receiver or a running back. But you, being the German quarterback, not taking up an A spot, you had 2 American receivers, Tyler Rutenbeck and Nathaniel Robitaille.
Yep.
2 very different styles. Did their different styles kind of help open things up for you? Did that make things easier for you as a quarterback?
I think so. That's why Jordan also recruited that way. He wanted that outside threat who can just go deep, and then also like a guy you can just drop it off on screens, and he's just going to make plays. And Robitaille, we both know Nate, he's like, he can take hits, he goes over the middle, he doesn't care, and he's also really good on deep routes. So, that was probably a good move by Jordan to say, okay, I want 2 different types. So, he has more options, or we have more options in our offense.
Yeah, absolutely. He's up there with the Rhein Fire right now, still.
Just bringing the fire.
Yeah, bringing the fire, playing at a high level. Like, guy hasn't lost a step, really. He looks the exact same, which he's my age or like 6 months younger than me. We're about the same age, so he's about our age. Yeah. So not so young, but still playing like really high level football. Have you watched much of the Rhein Fire?
Yeah, I've actually watched the last 2 games, and like he had awesome performances. Yeah. When he took that ball, and there you can see like his speed. Like you said, he didn't lose a step, right? He caught that ball over the middle and ran away from defense. Then he also showed he can still jump up and moss people, right? When he took that ball, I believe it was against Paris. Yeah. When he caught like a deep ball where he just went over his defender. So, yeah, he's showing that it doesn't matter about the age. You can still perform at a high level. For sure. Were you surprised at their victory over Paris at all? Not really. No. Paris, to me, was a team that got so much hype in the offseason, but a team I projected to be not as good as everybody thought. Okay. Because I think they have a lot of good individuals, but as a team, they need some time to grow together, and it shows off. They're very undisciplined right now, and that's just, they're just not there as a team yet. Right. It's hard when you are starting a team from scratch. Yep. That's different than having, like, I think we see, and I've been very close with the Stuttgart Surge, it's a very difficult project when you are doing a lot of revamping and getting new players and everything and new coaches, but the team already exists at least. Yep. Now they are starting everything from scratch. That's a whole different challenge. And I think that's a fair assessment. Who would you say you feel is underrated in the league? Underrated team. I think Berlin doesn't get enough credit because I also feel they're a really emotional team. Yeah. Once you've seen in the Vienna game, they were down, and as soon as they build like emotion and things start going their way, they can be really, really dangerous and beat everybody. Yeah, that was impressive to see them come back against Vienna. That was quite impressive. Yeah. Which quarterback in the league are you most impressed with? Who would be your top quarterback or your top couple quarterbacks? For right now, Connor Miller is really balling out. Yeah. He has like really 2 receivers, and he just has such a good chemistry with them right now with all these back shoulder fades in week 1 and 2. I'm like, okay, that's impressive how good they are. And as the season will progress, I still think Christian Strong, the Raiders quarterback, is going to be really good for the Raiders offense, especially with the weapons he has, with McClam, with Sandro Platzkum are coming back now, and also the other receivers, they're just pretty good receivers. Absolutely. If you had to pick a team right now, I love talking about the ELF. Yeah. It's really fun. Me too. You see, we're both pretty excited about this. Yeah, I'm thrilled about it. And I love also, like, this is coming right at a time also when the NFL is dipping its toe into Germany, which is very cool to just kind of have this big explosion of football. And like
Did you go to the NFL game in Munich last year?
I didn't, but
No?
I hope I'm going to go this year. There will be 2 Frankfurt games.
Yeah.
Or maybe go to a London game or
Yeah.
something like that. That would be great.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to the Munich game last year, and just the energy and the excitement. I don't know.
Did you sing Country Road?
I sang
Yeah,
Country
of
Roads,
course.
man, and then I filmed it and made a YouTube video. That YouTube video that I made performed so well. It got like 100,000 views within like 2 days because that NFL game was such a hot topic on the news, and the Country Roads was such a hot topic that on YouTube it was really pushed.
The algorithm.
The algorithm pushed it. Yeah. So, it's super exciting seeing just the NFL come into Germany like this, and there to be like you see, there's such a demand. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where the ELF is going to. The people want to consume football, and they're giving the people what they want.
Absolutely.
And that's something the GFL was lacking for years, where they didn't see the void of the people what they want, and that's exactly where the ELF is going. That's why it's so successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you take for example that 2017 German Bowl that we had against Braunschweig, or the following year against Frankfurt. Like, that's very high level football. I would say comparable to some of the highest level in the ELF, but the GFL just didn't package it and promote it and deliver it to the fans and the audience in such a professional way. And it's just it's nice to see it happening now. It's like, okay, in the fall, obviously I watch NFL Game Pass, every weekend this weekend since the ELF started, I'm putting on Game Pass, and I've got it running in my apartment all day. If I'm home, I'm watching ELF football all day on the Game Pass. It's just like it's really exciting.
Are you watching German commentary? Or
I watch German commentary when Marco Ehrenfried is there, the best commentator in the land. Yeah. Actually, well, I guess I'm at the game, but I actually do sometimes watch the German commentary. I like that. I got really used to that when editing Unicorn Town, the documentary of which you are a star of, because I had to edit so much German footage in the game. So I got very used to listening to German football commentating. Let's see. What else did I have on the docket for us to talk about? Outside of football.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Did you?
I thought you want to go with ELF something. Who's my?
Oh yes, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You should be the host of the podcast. If you had to pick right now, who do you see? Who's going to be in the playoffs? Who wins the ELF title?
Well, I was kind of like, everybody's picking Brian Fire, right? Because they're so dominant right now, and they loaded up their team. They have this ex-NFL head coach and everything, and they'll make the playoffs for sure. They're just too stacked of a team. And then, to be honest, I got Vienna, of course, because they're just such a solid program, and even if they're going to have some injuries, they're just really good coached. Yeah. I got Berlin also in the playoffs, and my fourth team is actually like the team I feel like this year they can really go for it, and it's gonna be the Tyrol Raiders.
Forco Raiders.
So Central Conference, I just think Strong and McClam have a good connection. If they can stay healthy, their offense is going to be really booming, and their defense has shown after week 1 that they can really come to play, and I think they can upset a lot of teams. Okay, nice. I like this. And then, who wins it all? Like I said, that's going to be the Tyrol Raiders for me. I think. Okay. I think you would pick this year. I picked them before the season because we had with the commentators. They asked okay, who are your picks? And I was like, I'm not going to go with Brian Fire. At some point I feel like Tyrol has built up a lot these years, and this year they're finally going to get there. Okay, nice. We got it. Let's see how this all plays out. We've been talking a bunch about the ELF, and we talked about kind of our football careers, your football career. I want to talk back about our old football club, the Schwäbisch Unicorns. They're in a little bit of a different situation this year after having a lot of consistency for the last 7 or 8 years, or basically since 2014, with Jordan Newman leaving and some other
big name coaches leaving, Johnny Brenner, Cody Pastorino, and a lot of people either retiring or leaving to different teams. So it's really a new era with the Unicorns. What are your thoughts on the new era of the Unicorns now this year, and what do you hope to see for Schwäbisch Hall?
I think it's a great opportunity for them, and I get the feeling whenever you are with the people in Schwäbisch Hall, also the people that run the club, they see it as an opportunity to change things, to get back more to the roots, like it started 2011 with like you won the championship with basically a homegrown team with some great Americans.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the theme. They have to focus on their younger players that come out of the academy or the U19 program, and they're going to have to give them time. But if they're going to play for 2 or 3 years, they are obviously very talented. They can, build a unique team with just homegrown players that are going to be supported by some great Americans.
Yeah. And it's like also the because it's sort of, I don't know if I would call it a rebuilding year, or like maybe in a certain way it is. The games are very exciting right now for the fans there. I was just at the homecoming game. It's super exciting. The game that we commentated, incredibly exciting. So it's really exciting football to watch. And I think, like you said, it's just a great opportunity for a lot of players, young guys getting to step into big roles. Ian Gerke, who is sort of in a similar position to what you once were, actually, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ian spent some time in Berlin playing quarterback and mostly receiver. And now he's coming back. And I talked to Felix Brenner, actually, about this, the offensive coordinator. And he's like, he needs some confidence. He needs the other players around him and also the coaching crew and also the fans to trust him, to give him confidence, and then he's gonna develop and get only better. And I mean, he has some great talent, and there is some inconsistency at some time, but he's a young player. He didn't play the position for 17 or years like I did. Oh no, not 17, but like 10 years before I really got to the point. So there's going to be some ups and downs, but he's really talented, and he's going to make his way if they're going to stick to him and show him that confidence.
What is your advice to him being in this position that you once were in, being the homegrown quarterback with the weight of the team on his shoulders?
I mean, it's tough. I would just say don't put too much pressure on yourself, right? That you have to carry the team from week 1 on, right? It's also a process you need to get into. And I was never the kind of guy that put too much pressure on me, but I can relate or think that some people, they are like this. They're saying, okay, now it's on me. I gotta do this. It's my mission. And at some point, football is a team sport. You can do your best, but you also need the surrounding to work out.
Yeah, that's great. Where do you see football in Europe and Germany being in 5 to 10 years?
Well, hopefully expanding. Much bigger, expanding. NFL coming here. Maybe also like in Barcelona, where like an NFL player also invested into the club. Getting more attention around the world and just getting more people into the stands. And it's growing already, like with podcasts during the week and a lot of people talking about it, but it can really grow big if the right people get attracted, which are investors or anything that really put their money in, and then like there's no limit actually.
Ask you, so you're doing commentating right now. You're quite involved with this sort of growth of football and media side of football right now. Where do you see yourself and your involvement with football going? What do you hope that your involvement looks like or continues to be like?
I mean, I want to be as involved as much as right now for sure, but I want to actually expand it. And I just want to get better at commentating, and I see myself reaching a next level, which would be like commentating on TV or something. That's actually going from live streams to TV presence, and then that's pretty much the biggest you can have in Germany, because everything else would be United States then. And since I'm not naturally or like
a native
speaking English, that's just something. There is a border. That's what I know. So, but for sure, trying to expand from going from streams to TV presence. Also.
Would you like to commentate NFL games, like the German NFL broadcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something I want to get into for the winter. Yeah. That I don't only commentate in the summer for the German or European leagues, but also for the NFL games. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. I mean, there's gonna be hopefully some people getting in touch with me, and then or I'm gonna try to get in touch with people, and then let's see how it plays out.
If anybody here is watching the Imported Podcast and needs a commentator for some football games in the NFL on TV, here's your guy right here. Contact him.
My email. You got to give him my email now.
Okay, your email. It's in the description.
Yeah.
His email's in the description. Marco EHRENFRIED, QB1, longtime teammate and friend. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this afternoon. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Absolutely. Enjoyed every minute, and wish you a lot of success with all your future projects.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, guys. Peace.